Remember the mysterious girl Diddy adopted during lockdown? She vanished without a trace until now. Ava Barron is back, and she's not just speaking, she's exposing. Diddy, Christian, and the dark secrets of that mansion are all under fire. This isn't a comeback, it's a reckoning, alright, everyone needs to get on this drama quickly. Word on the street is that Daisy's adopted daughter, Ava Barron, has reportedly appeared out of nowhere and is prepared to spill all the beans. You may recall that in 2020, when Daisy was out here pretending to save Ava from the streets, the whole savior act didn't last long because she abruptly disappeared without any updates or appearances, nothing at all, there was total quiet. Now that she's back in the spotlight, she didn't come empty-handed. Rumor has it that Ava is allegedly sitting on a lot of dirt, not just on Diddy, but also on his sons, and the name that keeps coming up is Christian. People are beginning to question whether Ava is going to blow the lid off everything, and whether Christian could have been more involved in his dad's mess than for those who have forgotten who Ava Barron is or why she's even relevant. Let me refresh your memory.
Ava, I'm a Scorpio.
No, what's your last name?
Ava Combs.
What's your other last name?
Ava Baroni.
Ava Baroni Combs? Yes, it's breaking news. Diddy adopted a white child. I want you to tell them the story about how I adopted you. But you still have beautiful parents but you're my child also. But please tell the story.
So, I was on the streets, and then Papa Combs decided that he would like to be a caring man. So then he saw me and decided to pick me up and said to come inside and play with his kids.
Ava, that's like a little bit like borderline suspect. I don't want nobody here. We want to get it clear. I adopted you like Madonna adopted kids and everybody else adopted kids. Charlize Theron. Everybody that's ever adopted Sandra Bullock, I adopted you because I felt that you could, enjoy also having a black parent to take care of you and help you out. So, just clarify it because it's crazy out here online. So I played with the kids and I got permission from your mother. Say all of that. It's crazy out here.
I met Jesse and Lila when I was 6 months old.
6 months.
And then basically sisters, all 4 of us. So, I always come over.
Yes. And it's Ava Barron Combs.
A little. You may have forgotten, but go back to 2020 during lockdown, when Diddy made headlines for something unusual out of the blue. Diddy's actions are starting to look really ugly for Christians, so let's break down what she had to say. It presented a young white girl named Ava Barron and declared that he was adopting her. He even went so far as to change her name to Ava Barron Combs and went live on Instagram to parade her around as if she were a new family addition. It was a haphazard move that, to be honest, left people more perplexed than anything else, but as soon as she appeared, Ava vanished from the public eye. There were no more mentions or follow-ups, and the silence continued until Diddy's legal drama began to erupt. For a long time, we wondered where she was and why she was so adamant about avoiding the light. Rumor has it that she has finally come out on her own terms to discuss what happened to her at Diddy's mansion. Let's just say that it wasn't entirely innocent, and Christian might need to get a lawyer on speed dial because Ava's claims could land him in jail. At the time, Diddy's big announcement seemed like a sweet, feel-good gesture. Social media applauded him, calling it generous, selfless, and even noble. If only we had known better back then, because now it's raising an absurd number of red flags for one fan, thinking that a child in such a chaotic time was stepping up and doing something meaningful when the world felt like it was falling apart. The same sons who are facing strange accusations. Christian has been sued for allegedly assailing a woman, and Justin has been accused of helping Diddy solicit girls. If that were to happen today, people would be alarmed, but as I mentioned earlier, we were unaware of the shenanigans that took place at the time, and Ava herself was the part that truly confused people. A lot of people watching noticed that she didn't appear happy at all. Her body language was stiff, her face looked uncomfortable, and it just gave off an odd vibe. They began to wonder if it was just a moment of awkwardness captured on camera or if there was more going on that we weren't seeing. After all, you would think that she would be happy that she was taken off the streets during a pandemic, correct? However, it was evident that Ava did not want to be in that room, and fans began to become suspicious when Ava essentially vanished after the video. Now, as horrible as it sounds, it's not that unusual. This is especially true when the person who adopted you is a billionaire and one of the most well-liked men in Hollywood. When Ava abruptly vanished, fans became very suspicious. But we assumed that she had been thrown out into the streets. However, word on the street is that it was allegedly worse than we imagined, and there is growing talk that Diddy didn't just abandon or neglect adopted children. Some even go so far as to return the children as if they were some kind of toy. That they no longer want to—
Craziness, man. And you know what's so crazy is, bruh, that all these stories has been around the industry for a long time. All these industry people know that Diddy been acting like this and doing this. It's a lot of stories that goes around in this industry about not just him, other people. Jimmy Iovine. Ain't nobody talking about Jimmy Iovine. He got charges and everything on him. But he got those publicists that's keeping it out off of CNN, is keeping it off the major news reports. Nobody's talking about that. This is something that goes on, man, that they're gonna push up under the rug, and a few years later, bad boy 5, 6, 7, 8
treat Ava poorly, he might have taken advantage of her for his own gain. Many people think the adoption story was a publicity stunt during the pandemic, but the touching story helped change public perception and made him appear like a kind, selfless person. However, once the spotlight waned, Ava also faded, making it seem as though she was never truly a member of the family, and the rumors Dante there are rumors that Dottie found a homeless girl, promised her a better life, and took her into his world to give the impression that he was doing something admirable, but in reality, it was all for show and nothing real. Even Gone Deal has stated that the public image he presents is a cover and that people in the industry already know the truth about Dottie for who he truly is. So what happened to Ava and why is her name now making the rounds? According to some rumors, she was allegedly used by Christian Combs. This makes us wonder why, out of all the men in the house, Christian is the one being accused of this. It seems like Christian was too preoccupied with his freak-off sessions. Isn't it fascinating that Christian is the only one of Diddy's children to have been accused of having an affair? He reportedly became bored and focused on the other non-biological girl who was at the house, Ava. The complicated lawsuit was filed last year. A few days ago, the attorneys for Christians, or, maybe more accurately, the attorneys for Dylan, filed a request asking a judge to throw the case, but the judge denied the motion, meaning that it will go to trial. If the judge declined to dismiss the case, it indicates that he thinks it is strong and that things are not looking good for Christians. So, what is the lawsuit about? Well, he was sued in April of last year by a yacht steward named Grace Omar, who allegedly claimed she was 25 when she worked on a super yacht named Victorious in December 2022 when Combs leased it. She claimed that during the holiday season, the disgraced music mogul had complete control over the yacht's personnel and property. According to the court document, the yacht's composition rapidly changed from consisting solely of defendant Sean Combs and his family to include a steady rotation of suspected adult employees and other A-list celebrities, including French Montana and actor Cuba Gooding Jr., were frequently treated disrespectfully. She claimed that he attempted to touch her inappropriately and that adults were lying unconscious all over the yacht, making it hard to tell which bottles of alcohol were laced with alcohol and which weren't. Christian allegedly demanded that she find him a place to sleep on the yacht after she suggested the cinema room because there were no other cabins available, but she was able to avoid him each time, until one encounter when he nearly forced himself on her. The suit claimed that the cinema had a single exit and entry door. When the plaintiff entered the room, the defendant, Christian Combs, prevented her from leaving. The plaintiff then retreated to a corner of the room, and the defendant, Christian Combs, became violent and aggressive. He cornered the plaintiff and began to push her back repeatedly. The plaintiff then repeatedly pushed him back, and the defendant removed all of his clothing, exposing his erect privates. He took her arms and attempted to make her perform oral cupulation on him. The plaintiff then started fighting with defendant Combs, and shortly after her partner entered the theater, the plaintiff says this startled her alleged attacker. She was eventually able to escape, but when she attempted to complain, she was fired. She then claimed that she had lost her partner who struggled to handle a circumstance. According to the lawsuit, Omar